man. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Can we give the dads a round of applause? I am so grateful for my father. I'm so grateful for all the dads that show up week in and week out. And man, I tell you, I talked to some of you guys and, done all the social media stuff. Man, I just have a heart for this message. Because I think that this is something that if we as dads begin to get this right, that if we go first, that it will change not only our families, but our communities. Before I get ahead of myself, because I'm excited about this. Listen, can I hear if you came to our night of worship this past week? Just give me a shout out. There you go. Listen, we have a night of worship every month during the summer, and it's up on our rooftop. You need to be a part of it. Guys, we had like 50, 60 people there this last time, and it was so good, and the weather was perfect. I am not promising that in July, okay? But listen, it is a time to just worship God together, and we get to look over our city and pray for our city and be engaged in what God is doing. And if you're new here, I want you to know that our mission is to help people find and follow Jesus. And so that means no matter where you are coming from, that you are welcome here. But we want you to be transformed by the love of Christ, by the grace offered in him. And so, you might have heard like, hey, no matter how you are, no matter how you came in, you are welcome here. It's okay to not be okay. But we don't want you to stay that way. We want God to do a transformative work in your life as he has and is doing in our lives. Okay, I'm going to jump in because, like I said, I'm just feeling it today. You ever worked out regularly? Let me hear from my guys that work out and girls. Yeah, right? Like if you work out regularly, I want to hear from you. Yeah, like I get all amped up when I go to the gym. It's one of the few places where I want you to yell at me. Literally, I've torn the muscle in my scapula twice because the guy's like, you can do more. And I'm like, I can, let's do it. And then I get home and I'm like, ow. But you ever worked out regularly and then stopped? It's not fun, is it? I've done that more than once, more than I will admit on this stage. But most recently, when we moved here, before we moved, for about 2.5 years, I was working out every week, sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 days a week. I love it. It is so good for me. It's so good not only for me physically, it's good for me mentally. And it's good for the staff that I work with. They're like, Matt, go work out. Go get somebody all the aggression and all that kind of stuff out. And it is. It's good for me. But when we moved here, I jumped in and I got busy. There was tons and tons of work to do. And here's what happened, and some of you guys have been there before. One skipped workout turned into 2, turned into 5, turned into 2 months, 3 months. I hate to admit, but a good 1.5 years went by until I got a gym membership recently. And if you haven't worked out for a while and you're going back into the gym, you know the feeling that I have. It's like, oh man, this is not going to be fun. This is going to be hard. In fact, many times that's what keeps me from going back to the gym. Because I know that it is going to be so hard. I know that what I was doing before I stopped working out, I'm going to go back more than I would care to admit. When I was working out regularly, I got to the point where I was bench pressing 315 pounds. I'm not there anymore. I literally put, 45-pound plates on, did my 10 reps, and was like, okay, we got a long way to go. It's hard. If you were lifting, you're lifting less. If you were running, you might be walking. For me, I love the row machine. I used to do 2,000 meters, and I'd be cranking, and it was a great warm-up, and let's go. I did 500 meters, and let me tell you, when it comes to jumping back in, I have a challenge for you. Embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. Now, for some of you, I have offended you. You are offended because of what I just said. Others are nodding and you're laughing because you're like, yes, it is hard. And let me tell you, if I offended you, I offended myself too. Because when I got on that row machine and I was at 200 meters, I was sucking. I was sucking air. I was trying to breathe. I was begging for my life. And I'm like, what happens? But here's what I know. In order to get where I want to go, I have to embrace the suck. I have to embrace the hard. I have to get back into a routine. I have to do the consistent, everyday things that I need to do physically and spiritually to get to where I want to go. Here's the truth. I haven't always led my family or myself well. There's times where, just like working out, I've stopped. I might have been consistent for a while and leading myself well and leading my family well, and then I stop. I have this tendency to get busy with the work that I need to do, and I love working. I love working. I love getting stuff done and getting things accomplished. I love having checklists and just mentally checking these things off and getting them taken care of. But I'm going to tell you what happens sometimes if I'm not careful. Work is my priority, and everything else comes after. My family, my marriage. And then what happens is I'm working so much that I come home and I'm too tired to engage in the way that I would like to engage, or I'm not interested in the things that they're doing, and this gap begins to widen. There have been seasons where I've been physically present, but mentally absent. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? There are times when I'm there and I'm smiling, but I'm not really there. I'm not really engaged in the things that are going on. And there are times that, if you skip one workout, it's not a big deal. If you skip 2 workouts, not a big deal. But 120 workouts that you skip becomes a big problem. 120 workouts times 4 times a week, it's about a month. It's about a month. And pretty soon you have a new habit that you are forming. And over time, you join the ranks of the few, the proud, the dad bod guys, right? We get our dad bods going. And there's muscle there. There's muscle that you've worked for years to establish and that you fortified throughout your work or the different things you do. You just have a couple fluffy layers over it, right? And we've been in this series when we've been talking about our seats around the table. That we all have a unique place around the table. And listen, I'm going to tell you, dads, you have a significant seat around the table. And I felt like I want to specifically speak to the dads today. And just like every series, listen, there is going to be stuff for those that are not dads. There's going to be stuff for those that are single. There's going to be those for the ladies. There are things for everyone. But I want to challenge the dads today. And I think it's important because all of us have known, or maybe unfortunately know, a father who has been absent. Dads who are not around, or dads who are around, but they're checked out and they have not invested in their families. Now, you might be like me when it comes to working out. You've skipped more than a couple. You've made it a habit, and maybe you've done that in your family. Listen, here's the thing. Today, I'm not here to talk down to anyone. I'm here to say that we are called to more. I'm here to say I want you to be encouraged and lifted up. I'm here to say we are a tribe of people that together can encourage, can spur one another on. And occasionally, because, listen, I'm just sick enough that I like it, I need to be yelled at a little bit. At the gym, watch it. Some people are like, finally got my chance. But we need as fathers to be encouraged. We need to know that we have other people. Now, listen, when I went back in the gym recently, I love lifting weights. I love lifting weights because this body was not made to run, okay? I ran at one point 3 half marathons. Ran is not a definition that I would look up and you would see my picture, okay? I jogged. I kind of jogged. Okay, I walked, okay? But I did it. But I quickly came to this place where I was like, I am not made to run, but I can lift weights, and I enjoy lifting weights. Here's what I don't enjoy. After I've skipped out for about a year and a half, going over to the free weights. Because you know where the free weight people are, right? The free weights are my bros. The guys that are they're just like ripped. They can't walk and put their arms down. They just walk out and they're just like, what's up, brother? And I'm like, I want to be like, yeah, let's go. But like, I'm just like, yeah, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts, okay? But like, it's intimidating. And that's why I say that is not who we are here. You have some spiritual giants in this room. And the beautiful thing is if we have been people who have grown in our relationship with Jesus, that we've grown and matured, and that we've begun to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, that we grow as fathers and we grow as spiritual mentors, we don't take that position. We take a position of humility. That is what we're called to. We're like, hey, can I help you along? Man, I want to let you know about something that will save not only your marriage, not only your relationship with your kids. It's going to save not only like a lot of hardship at work. It's going to save your soul. And it can only be a position of humility because you did nothing to earn it. It's simply by grace. So, as my Planet Fitness brothers and sisters would say, no judgment. This is a place to belong and get strong. And I will encourage you to embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. To jump in even though it might be hard at first. Even though it will be a challenge, I want to encourage you to start. Because specifically on Father's Day, our role as fathers is too important to skip out on. This has to be said. Being a dad is not a sideline position. Did you hear me? Being a dad is not a sideline position. It's not a background role. It's not something that we can check in and check out of. Being a father is not I clocked in, I did my 8 hours, I took my lunch break and my 15 minutes break, I'm done, and I go home and I don't think about it anymore. It's something that takes time. It takes investment. It takes more than just a little bit of frustration, and it takes a whole lot of perseverance. See, fatherhood is the call to faithfulness on the front lines, not on the sidelines. Fatherhood is a call to faithfulness, to showing up day in and day out. The good news is most of us have a partner that we get to do that with. That we say like, hey, I need a 15-minute break. Hey, I need to go get some water. Hey, it's your turn for your set, right? But listen, regardless, fatherhood is this call to faithfulness on the front lines. And far too many guys are sitting in the stands saying, I got my flag and I'm cheering you on. But they aren't in the fight. Listen, I'm going to hurt some feelings for a second. But too many guys choose beers and bros over faithfulness and fighting for their relationship with their families. And listen, even though I might have hurt your feelings, I think it's so important to always look in the mirror. And if I'm going to be honest, there's times where I've been there. There's times where I'm like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my friends, and Sarah Lynn, you can just figure out the kids for a little bit. And at some point I realized this truth. Nobody's coming to lead your family but you. I should restate that. Nobody is truly in the position to lead your family in the way that God desires except for you. Because someone will come in and lead it, won't they? Someone will come in and lead it. Cultural influences. Somebody else that has the idea of what your kid needs to or doesn't need to be doing. Somebody that talks about the relationship that you have with your spouse. Somebody else will come in, but there is nobody that is called to lead your family in godliness but you. We can't outsource that. To our church, to our job, to our schools. And let me tell you, I think one of the things that is difficult in this day and age is we're trying to outsource that role and that responsibility to our schools, to our counselors, even to the church. The church isn't a bad place to come for advice and wisdom and seeking out godliness, but you and you alone have the role as a parent in your kid's life. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. The average church attender has about 40 hours a week at church, whether it's a kid or an adult. Whether it's a kid or adult. In the average year, you have about 40 hours. As a family, the average is about 3,000 hours that you're together, that you have influence. Fathers, what kind of influence are you going to be? It's your role and your responsibility. Today's message is simple, but it's not soft. It's time to get in the game. And listen, I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are. You might have a newborn, or you might have someone that is so far out of the nest that you can't remember the last time they were around. Let's be in the game. Not when you feel ready, not when life slows down, not when you have it all figured out. Now, today, right where you are. And listen, you may not feel equipped. Good. Most people that really know their position know they don't have it all figured out. Know that they're not totally equipped. But here's what they do. They show up and they go hard. The good news is there's a playbook. There is a manual for manliness, if you will. Come on, I expected a little bit more from that. A manual for manliness. And listen, here's the thing. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Some of you had bad fathers. Some of you have been a bad father. Some of you haven't been able to reconcile a relationship with your kids, and the relationship is difficult, and you're not sure how to mend it. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not saying I don't have incredible empathy. But I am saying it's our role to be in the game and do what we can, humbly serving God and not ourselves. So, manual for manliness. Faith-filled fathers, number one, they take a stand. They take a stand. They make the choice to embrace the suck that is and that it's time to re-engage. And listen, the beautiful thing about that is the moment you check out is the moment you get the opportunity to re-engage. Take a stand. To rebuild, to get back on track, and to build a healthy family by all means. I love Joshua 24:15. It says, "But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." There's a stance that is taken in this moment. And in the context of this, other people were following foreign gods and gods of their fathers and all these other things. And right here he's saying, listen, if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, have fun. But as for me and my house, we are going to serve the Lord. In the book of Joshua, it hits this point where we've just unpacked all this stuff, and the Israelites are struggling, and they're like, hey, we should just go back. We should go back to slavery. We should go back to what was, and it is taking a stand saying we are going to be faithful. We are going to press forward even though we're not sure of the path. We are going to seek after God. Because here's what they knew, that God was faithful. that God was faithful even through the trial, that God parted the Red Sea, that God made water come out of the rock, that God provided manna, that God provided quail, that over and over and over, it is not about a kingdom, it is about an eternal king. And that is the rock that we stand on. I'm not like a big hymn guy. I didn't grow up in church, so I don't know them all. But I'll tell you, I remember sitting in a small, tiny church in Arkansas, and I remember reading through hymns that I had no idea how they went, and just coming to tears as I read the words. On a hill far away stood an old, rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. How I love that old cross where a world of lost sinners was slain. And I'm going to mess up the words because I've probably sang it 4 or 5 times in my entire life. But he says, I will cling to the old rugged cross where my victories at last I lay down and exchange it someday for a crown, that my hope is found in Jesus. And so I will take a stand on that rock. I will take a stand and say daily, put me in, coach. I'm here to show up for my family. I'm here to show up for the obligations that I have. Number 2, this might confuse some of you. Walk your talk, not talk your walk. Not talk the talk, but walk your talk. It's not just enough to talk about what you're going to do. You have to walk it out. I feel like there's all kinds of sound clips that could go on after this. But listen, we have to walk out the things that we say that we believe in. Proverbs 20, verse 7 in the Message. I love the way that it says it in the Message. The Message is not, like a translation. It is an interpretation, but it says, God loyal people living honest lives make it much easier for their children. Listen, if you want to have a good life, it doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but if you want to have a good life with a good family and people around you that are encouraging and spurring you on to a relationship with God, God loyal people living honest lives make it much easier for their children. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be perfect. Look, our kids, just like us, have the opportunity and the decision to make their own choices. But they're going to make it a lot easier. And there's far too many dads making it more difficult than it has to be for their families. And why is it easier for the kids? Because the parents are being consistent. Listen, this is my value, and it's not just something that I say, it's something that I walk out. Listen, this is my value, and it's not just words that I say, but I put my money where my mouth is. I make sacrifices in the place I needed to make sacrifices. If I'm sitting here saying, listen, you have to live a healthy life, and I got my Fry Daddy rolling, and I got my sodas going, my kids are like, you're a hypocrite. In the same way, in our spiritual lives, walk your talk. Walk your talk. Games in our lives aren't won by one play. You might come out with that trick play that might get you far down the road, but listen, games aren't won on one play. They're won in everyday consistency, every day showing up, every day walking your talk. Because if you're walking out what you say you believe, they're going to believe that you actually mean it. Number 3, run to win. Run to win. This means keeping at it every single day. Keeping at it. It means doing the hard work when you don't feel like it. It also means something else. Running to win doesn't mean finishing first. It means running in such a way as to get the prize. I love this scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. It says, do you not know that in all races runners run? Okay, I'm going to pause. Don't read anymore. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, All runners run. If you sign up for a race, listen, when that starting pistol goes off, like even if you're going to stop in 2 seconds, you start running, right? Some of you like have been there before. You've been in a race and you're like, okay, here we go. And then immediately you start walking. But all runners run. It continues, it says, but only one gets the prize. Run in such way to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. At some point, if you're not just a spectator, if you're not just a friendly weekend warrior, if you decide that you're going to compete in the games, whatever the games are, they go into strict training. It says they do it to get a crown that will not last. I have all of those medals that I got for those half marathons that I ran. I have no idea where they are. My wife might have gotten rid of them at this point because she's like, it's embarrassing for you to say you ran 3 half marathons because look at you. Thank you. I'd agree with her. But it says, listen, they do it to get a crown that's not going to last. Listen, we have a high calling in our lives as believers. We do it to get a crown that will last forever, Corinthians says. Therefore, if we're doing it to get a crown that lasts eternally, if we're doing it for something that is beyond this life, if we're running and going into training and saying we believe certain things, that we're saying, hey, listen, I want to be known as a Christian. I want to be known as a Christ follower. It says, I don't run as someone running aimlessly. I don't fight like a boxer beating the air. No, he says, I strike a blow to my body and I make it my slave that after I have preached, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. I mean, like if you're a guy in this room and you just got some testosterone, this is a verse that gets me going. Because he's like, listen, don't miss it. Stay in the fight. Keep training. Keep going after it. It is worth it. Some of you don't have a lot of testosterone, and I'm freaking you out right now. It's okay. I'll say it to you this way. The life that we have as believers, the life that we have by the grace in Jesus Christ, is too important to hang up for a day, a week, a month. It is too transformative not to engage in it daily. To say, listen, I'm going to submit my life to the God that created the universe. And sometimes I don't feel like it or I don't want to. But I want to run this race, not because of what I get, but because of what I believe. That God, the Father, cares for me. See, when it comes to being a dad, when it comes to being a community of faith, when it comes to being a mother, running to win doesn't mean coming in first. It means coming in together. I'm going to run in such a way as to get the prize. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing scarier to me in my life. I mean, like, I'm hitting the mid, maybe a little bit over the edge of the mid-40s. And not only am I starting to look back, I'm also starting to look forward. And nothing is scarier to me in my life than looking at my family and looking at my kids and looking at my relationship with my wife and going like, have I done enough? Have I lived out this calling? Because listen, yes, I want to finish the finish line, but I want my family to come with me. I want my kids to know a relationship with Jesus. I want my wife to know that I love and care for her. But running to win doesn't mean coming in first. It means coming in together. I want to run across that finish line together. And New Vintage Church, I want to encourage us to build each other up, to lift each other up in prayer and showing up and sacrificing so that we can run the race together. I mean, Paul gets raw in 1 Corinthians. He's talking about training. He's talking about focus. He's talking about discipline. He's talking about a finish line. Run to win, not to wander. Don't jog casually. Run like it matters. And if you have to embrace the suck for a while, it's worth it. Because on the other side of it is perseverance. On the other side of it is faithfulness. On the other side of it is transformation. Men, here's the brutal truth. A lot of dads are running aimlessly. They're chasing things that won't last. Money, comfort, status, distractions. Paul says, don't waste your race. Run for something eternal. Your leadership as a dad is the race. How you handle your habits, how you love your wife and show her care and respect, how you disciple and even discipline your kids. Show up. So I want you to ask yourself today, are you running with a plan? Are you winging it? Are you running with a plan? Are you winging it? See, I love to go in the gym and I love to work my triceps. I love to work my triceps. I mean, I can do that all day long. But if all I ever work out is my triceps, the rest of me is going to be weak. Don't wing it. Run with a plan. Second is, are you training or are you coasting? We can go into the gym and we can just coast. I mean, I can do a mile on a treadmill and it doesn't increase my heart rate. It's not, there's no slope. There's nothing that's going on there. I'm just coasting. Are you training or are you coasting? And maybe the most important, are you after the imperishable prize or something temporary? Don't train for something temporary. Train for the eternal. Dads, train for the eternal. Moms, train for the eternal. Kids, train for the eternal. Single people, train for the eternal. New Vintage Church, anyone who is in here listening today, train for the eternal. If that's not the message that you hope to hear today at New Vintage, if you feel some amount of conviction, good. That means it's time. It's time to get up. It's time to go pay the initiation fee. It's time to get back in the gym. It's time to embrace the suck and start rowing, even if it's going to be hard at first. Listen, this message is not just for you, it's for all of us. God doesn't need you to be a perfect father. He needs you to be a present one. He needs you to be intentional. You've got breath in your lungs, which means the clock is still running. Get in the game. Start where you are. Stay in it and finish well. Finish well. Because if you're a little bit older, you know how quick it goes. You know it just seems like yesterday that you're bringing your kid home from the hospital and now you're walking them down the aisle. This life is but a mist. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's like dew on the grass. In the morning, you get your socks all wet. By mid-morning, it's gone. Life is short. Make it count. Let's be men who live like this race actually matters. Not half in, not half awake. Focus, all in, and faithful. Because when dads run with a purpose, I'm going to tell you, families change. You want to see your family change? You want to see your relationships get better? Jump all in. When fathers stay in the fight, faith passes forward. And remember, running to win doesn't mean coming in first. It means coming in together. Well, we're going to go into a time right now where we take communion together. We remember that It's because of God's gift of grace that we get to finish and cross that finish line. It's because of his goodness that we have an opportunity to have salvation. It's not by works so that no one would boast. There's going to be some trays passed, and there's 2 cups together, and the bottom one has some bread in it that represents Jesus' body, that he persevered, that he stayed in the race, that he said in the garden right before he was crucified, Lord, if you are willing, take this cup from me. But not my will, but yours be done. On the top, there's some juice that represents Jesus' blood, that he was willing to see it all the way to the finish line, that he gave of his blood that we might have a right relationship with him. So as we take communion together today, I just want to remind you and for you to be encouraged that Jesus went first, that he crossed that finish line first, and that he crossed that finish line for all of those who would have a relationship with him. If this is new to you, you can let the trays pass. There's no expectation for you to take communion with us. But we're going to have a prayer team up here in just a moment. And if you're like, man, I got out of the game and I've gotten fluffy, I'm ready to jump back in and get faithful, we'd love to pray with you. We'd love to join you and encourage you as we run this race together. Let's pray together as we take communion. God, I thank you for your goodness. I thank you that you are faithful, that you show up consistently, that you don't treat us as our sin deserves, but that you give us grace upon grace. God, I pray that today, for some of us, we'd get off the couch and get back in the race. And that we would look to you as our model of faithfulness. And that we rejoice in the life that you give us. And we thank you for that. And we thank you for this time of communion where we can remember that gift. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.